Hello again, Steve here, out on a bit of a walk to get back from work. And I wanted to talk about something that occurred to me on the way home. And once again, excuse the wind, I'm out in the great outdoors. I was thinking about how it is that we can maybe not overcome, but deal with greater levels of pain. This is something that, of course, most of us don't like to consider and talk about and so on, but it is important, I think, because in tough times, we can experience levels of pain. If we don't, loved ones can. So if we have a little bit of insight into this, a little bit of experience in it, we could be helpful to them because we could help people to try to overcome levels of pain. Now, I come at this not from somebody with experience in this, other than my own, not authoritative, rather, information. It's just sort of a conversation which can help us maybe to get a conversation going in our own heads as to how to deal with it, and also taking action where things are challenging, right? I think it's very possible. And the reason I say that is because if you look at the broad spectrum of humanity, we all have sort of the same neuro system, right? Nervous system. So if everybody cuts their finger over the course of their life, everybody experiences some pain, I would think. I mean, yeah, it would vary, I would say, in degrees, but it's still there. And yet, some people have a better way of dealing with it. And I would say it has to do with sort of an internal constitution, right? An ability to manage pain in some way. And this all comes back to what? To our inner genie project. Now, our inner genie, rather, or if you call it, our inner constitution, our soul, our inner strength, whatever it is, right? And I do have some anecdotes to share, and I've shared them before. Some of you know that I walked 8,000 kilometers, an unchallenged, at least, as far as I know, world record for that particular walk, from coast to coast in North America, and 5,000 miles, 8,000 kilometers, solo walk with a backpack, walking an average, including days off, of a marathon per day, and my average walk was more than 50 kilometers per day. My largest walk per day was 83 kilometers, or more than 50 miles in one day without taking my backpack off. So I learned to deal with pretty significant physical pain. But what I realized is that the body, I think, in its way of, it has like a mind of its own in a way. There's a way at a certain point to discern real dangerous pain and just pain that the body, like a spoiled child or whatever, wants us to sit the frig down and take a break, right? So I would get up in the morning very early and start. I usually walk 20 kilometers before breakfast. And I especially noticed it in the morning, the body would complain a lot, especially with my back. There'd be spasms going up and down my back. But I learned after a while that if I could sense what was a real pain that was dangerous to the body and just complaints. And that's sort of a way of managing the pain, because once I got used to it, I could overcome it. The same came with, I had really bad blisters at a certain point when I changed up my shoes. Big mistake. A different brand of shoes that didn't work well at all for me. I had serious blisters to the point where standing up was just excruciatingly painful. But I realized that a blister was not something internal. It was managed, it was bandaged and so on. And I could just get going. And as soon as I got going and the body knew that who was in control was going to override that pain, the pain just went away. It was absolutely astounding. One other personal anecdote, then I'll give you another an anecdote from somebody else I heard. Another anecdote was, before I went on that walk, at one point I was challenging myself to see if I could overcome and deal with certain pain. And I went to the dentist one time, and I told the dentist, I was due to get a cavity drilled out and filled. I said, I don't want any anesthetic. And the dentist said, oh, no, hang on a second here. This is extremely painful without anesthetic. And I said, no, I prefer, it's my choice. I don't want any anesthetic. So the dentist said, okay, we'll go ahead. And at any point, when you jump or whatever, we can always opt for that later on. So I went through the whole thing, the whole cavity drilling. I wouldn't do it again, but I was able to manage it. And now we can talk about that later if you message me and so on. I could probably, it's much more in depth as to how it can be overcome, although I've written about this in my book, Experiencing Freedom, or Discovering Freedom rather, Lessons Learned Through 10 Million Steps, which was a book about my walk, which you can find on the website innergenie.com. By the way, I don't get a penny for these things. They cost, but basically I've never to this day gotten a penny net out of books. They always cost me more than I get. And I've never gotten anything from Lulu, by the way, because I have it priced in such a way that it's just basically the cost of printing. If you want a hard copy, you'll get a hard copy from there. I don't get a penny for it, just so you know. Anyway, so that was another one. And here's one too that was a, oh, my arm's getting tired here. I'm holding the bike with one arm and holding the phone with the other. So let's try this. Anyways, the other side for a minute. There was a story that was told to me one time by a guy. Oh, I read about it actually. It was an account of the British SAS, I believe, Special Forces, or the Airborne, I'm not sure which. But one of the challenges they have to go through, this sort of as a testing ground and periodic test for them, is they get airdropped into the Hebrides, and they don't know where they are. They have to establish where they are, and they have to make it through the fog and so on. They got several days to make it back. And what they discovered, the doctors who study these people and so on, is that they push them to the point of breaking in their training. And the ones who can make it through that, it's estimated they're only at 10% of their capacity once they break through the pain to the other side. And we've all experienced this, those who are runners. You get into a second wind or something, it's like you're a different person all of a sudden. I think it's along that line. So I think there's a lot to be said about how, and I experienced that on my walk too, that's where I read about this thing about the Special Forces. They break through to the other side and you have amazing strength. Like for me, once I got through the 20 kilometers in the day, once I got used to it, I could push on for another 50, or not, maybe not 50, but 40 kilometers that day, without the body acting up anymore. It was like pushing through that. And I think a lot of it has to do with our inner constitution. For sure it does, actually. It's recognizing, it's being a sentinel really of what's going on inside, recognizing what is real dangerous pain and what is pain that we're used to letting us be held back. It's like stage fright or something like that. It's really harmless. It's there to help us in a way, to recognize ourselves, but it's not something that we're going to die from, and we can push through it. So in tough times, a lot of times we can have a lot of anxiety, we can have a lot of fears, but they're really there to help us to wake up and to discern, and maybe to learn other skills and up ourselves in a way. But we can manage them. And if you want to talk about this, post a comment in the box below. If it's on YouTube, BitChute, wherever it is, or Facebook, whatever it is, or on the website. Send a comment if you would like to have a discussion about dealing with pain. Steve here, gang. If you like what I'm doing, please like, subscribe, and share. Talking soon. Bye for now.